We are continuing our study of the more advanced concepts in the pawn endgames. Okay, the last week we had looked at breakthrough, which is a very important concept, and it can change the sometimes even with a pawn disadvantage also. But if your pawns are advanced and you are able to create a breakthrough, then you can be a decider, because breakthrough focuses on the principle that who can first get his pawn to queen, right? And sometimes you have to sacrifice one or even two pawns to get your pawn ahead. So that is the important thing. Now today we are going to look at one more concept similarly, where again the principle is that who can get his pawn to queen first, and even if one move extra or one move earlier makes a very big difference, because the moment if you queen and then you can prevent the other pawn from queening safely, then the game is yours, right? So so another factor that helps there is that extra space, and when we say extra space, relatively more advanced pawns. Okay, so we will see this example. Okay, so this is the position. Okay, and if you see, or I put it here maybe. Okay, I put it here, and it is white to play. White to play, it looks as if it is very easy to win, but it is just very slight advantage. Only with that only you can win. Okay, because why? In general, if this pawns on the A rank, if they were anywhere like on the B rank, okay, not rank, B file, not on the rook file, then it would have been very easy win for white, right? Very easy, because he has got an extra outside passed pawn, and to prevent it, black will have to be caught up, and then white will make his way, and white will be able to kill the black pawn first, and then he would be able to win. That is what would happen normally, but it is a rook pawn. Rook pawns are tricky because you can get imprisoned, and black does not really have to. All black has to do is prevent the white from coming into G, whatever these two squares, right? For the A pawn, it is B7 and B8. As long as white king cannot come to B7 and B8, right? Then black will be able to prevent the queening of the pawn. Right, so that being the thing advantage, this just hangs by a balance, but white just about, because white is to play, he is able to win this. Okay, so we'll see it how. White to play first pushes the pawn, okay, and gains space. Now you see, white pawn is on the 5th rank and black pawn is only from his side, it is only on the 2nd rank. Okay, now let us play this and let us see. Now what can black do? Black can, at the moment, he cannot play anything other than king G8, right? King G8. Now white, how will he go about? He knows that he has to rush to the other side, right? He has to rush to the other side. So black comes here, white comes here, and black takes the pawn, and white goes here. Black starts pursuing. See, why black wants to go down because his focus is these two squares. Okay, so there is no point in coming to F6. So white king goes here, black king goes to E7, white king goes to A6 and D7. And just if black had one more extra move, he would have been on C7, and then he would have prevented the white king from coming to these key squares for the rook pawn. But now white is able to come here, and it is a win, right? It is a win now. So very easy, right? But let us see the beginning, and let us see how it is so important that white had the move. If black had the move, this position becomes. How can I just go to board editor? Okay, let me go to board editor, and instead of white to play, let's just make it black to play. Okay, and now if black to play here, okay, it is not so easy now. In fact, maybe black draws now, because black will deny white the space advantage and move to the thing. So now black is also on the 4th rank from his side, and white is also on the 4th rank. And now, even though white has got an extra pawn, which is advanced pawn, but because this side is the rook pawn, let us see what happens. How will white go about? White will try to come and black will take it. White comes here, black comes to G6, F6, C5, E6, B5, D6, and white kills the pawn. And where does black go?
C7.
Yeah, C7. Right? And then white tries to
Or
go
even
here.
C5 would have worked.
C5. No, C5 doesn't work. C5 may no, C5 would not have worked.
No, then because black gains opposition, right?
No, but C5 would have been dangerous.
It would require very accurate play then.
Very accurately. Instead, it is much easier to go here. And because you know this thing, right? These are the two key squares. So you go and occupy. And white goes here, you occupy the one of the key squares, black has occupied. That means now there is no chance. Now no chance for white to win here. Right? So important. So how the concepts you have to remember to now combine the different concepts, okay, at this stage now. So because you know about the as it is, you know about the outside pass pawn. So now you might be thinking that, oh, it doesn't matter, whatever black does, I'm going to win. But no, not like that. Because there is another concept of rook pawn comes in, which gives chances. So now how do they combine together? And now within that battle now, outside pass pawn, rook pawn, now extra space is one more factor that goes to white's advantage. And if he has the play, then he can push the pawn and then he can win it, right? So important to remember how these concepts come together. Okay, any questions?
No, sir.
So remember in king and okay, so now does it mean that you should as much as possible advance your pawns? Be very careful. This advancement helps only if there are only king and pawns left. Okay, and that too when you are making advancing a pawns where the opponent king is not going to be, your pawns are not weakened, that opponent king can just kill them coming and take. So as long as that is not the case, then you can advance your pawns, but only in king and pawn games. Other end games, if there are other pieces, etc., you have to be very careful with pawn advances, especially in the end game. Okay, because many times that you require a tempo in reserve and that helps, and sometimes advancing a pawn, there is no way you have to retract it back. So you have to be very, very careful. But in king and pawn endgames, especially on the other side of the board, where the kings are, if you can advance the pawns, generally it will help you to have your pawns to the highest, whatever is the furthest that they are. Okay, so now remember, all these concepts are getting complicated, not complicated, but more nuanced, in the sense that it is not simple thing that, oh, it is a plus b. It is not like that. It is more factors you have to consider. Okay, so let us look at the next example. Now this example looks, how does it look? Just look at the position. White's pawns are advanced relatively compared to black, but both of them are on the extreme end of the board, rook pawns, both of them. And white, actually black has penetrated into white's position, right? White cannot prevent black from coming inside, right? Or going and killing whichever pawn black wants to, right? So what do you think? At first, this looks like white will be struggling to draw here, right? It looks like that, no? Right? What is your first impression looking at this? Is it advantage for white or advantage for black? Come on, what does it look like? Madhura? Pranav, Siddhant?
I don't know. I think it's equal.
Sorry? Equal. You think it is?
Anything can happen because black can either go towards edge and then white has to go towards the a pawn and then kill the black pawn and then
correct.
has to advance. But I think until then the black pawn will queen and then the h1 diagonal, the queen will control that.
Correct. So one important factor in this position is, you know that one guy is going to go to one side and the other guy is going to the other side, and they are each going to kill one pawn each, and the two rook pawns are going to advance. Now it is going to be very critical because both two rook pawns on the other
The
end of the
diagonal
chessboard
is
are
same.
diagonal is there. So whoever is going to queen first will be at a super advantage because he will automatically prevent the other guy from queening, right? Because he will be controlling the diagonal. So based on this, this is the key factor in this endgame deciding. And just because white's pawns are more advanced, his pawn is queening with one move extra, and that automatically means that black is losing this game here. Okay, so this is very, very interesting endgame to see. Let us see how white plays. Okay, white plays. So white first plays king to c3 to get a diagonal position and asks black what is he going to do. So now black has got two options. Either black can go towards f4, okay, towards the h pawn, in which case now the theme is decided. Now white can never prevent the black from getting the h pawn. So white has to go towards the a pawn, right? Now let us see how the race happens. Black goes here, white goes here, and as of now it looks like black is ahead, killing the pawn, and white is still just reaching, and black gets out of the way and white just now kills. But white has got only 4 more moves required, 1 to get the king out and 3 moves for the pawn. Black has got 5 moves to win the pawn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is the deciding factor, because now black starts advancing, white gets the king out, advances, but white is already on the 6th rank. Now black is getting on to his 6th, white goes into his 7th, black is getting into 7th, and white queens, and now black cannot queen, right? So this just one move extra that helped. And why? Because white's pawn was more advanced. That was the only reason why white put it. And that makes a double difference. Okay, if white is on a5 and black is on, matlab white is on 5th rank and black is on 6th rank, that means it effectively black is 3rd rank. So 5 and 3, the difference is like 2 versus 4 and 4, the difference is 0. So the number of moves that it makes a difference is 2 moves it makes a difference. Right, what I meant to say is, here white's pawns are on the 5th rank and blacks are on the 6th rank, versus if they were one step back, if white was on 4th rank and black was on 5th rank, which is like exactly middle of the board, right, then the difference in moves is 2 moves. Okay, now because white is more advanced, he gets advantage of 2 moves, and because of that he is able to thing. So you see that 5 minus 3 versus 4 minus 4. 4 minus 4 is 0. 5 minus 3 is 2. That's what I wanted to convey. I hope you got it, what I was saying. Yeah. So let us see what happens if black king does not go to the this side. He decides to still ask white where is he going to do. So white gets the opposition. Now again black has two choices. Go towards the c5, this pawn. If he goes towards this pawn, then white abandons and runs towards the other side, h side. So black goes again. Similarly, it happens. Black reaches the pawn first, white reaches behind, black kills, white just now reaches, black gets out of the way, white kills. But after this, again 4 moves for white and 5 moves for black. So black starts advancing and white queens first, right? Prevents black from queening. So again, in this variation also white is winning, right? So let us go back. I hope this is clear. It is just a mirror image of what happened on the other side earlier, right? So let's go back. So white had played king c3, black had played, black is saying, okay, I know on either side if I go, then I am actually at a disadvantage. So why don't I stay in the middle? So now, but white has got a opposition here. Though black's king is more advanced relative to the pawns, but opposition is with white. Now black has to go to either side, right? Either he has to go to c5 or to e5. If he goes to c5, then again white comes here. Again, similar thing. Oops. Sorry, what I was saying. I think this already we had shown. What if black king goes to e5? Okay, starts going towards the h pawn. Then also white king goes to c4. Black king now wants to prevent it, the white king from gaining king, but white gets the opposition. Now that black is, so white has made so much advance, now there is no point in, now black cannot prevent the king from killing the a6 pawn. So as well he might come here and try to blockade the white king, but what happens? Now white has got his extra tempo move a6. And black is still, see the difference between earlier when I had said that only a rook pawn is remaining and then g7 g8 or b7 b8 are the key square, but there are no other pawn. In this case it is not the case, there is an extra pawn here. So what is white is able to do is b6. You know why this wins now for white? This wins for white now because black will very well jolly well prevent the a pawn from queening. That is he is able to do because of that. But white is saying that, oh, at this crucial juncture, I'm going to change my attention to H pawn now. And black's king will be caught trying to prevent this pawn here, which is far more advanced. And on this side, he will not be able to come in time. So now when white, so black will now go to B8, white will go to C6, black will go to A7, white will go to D6, black will kill the pawn, white will go to E6, black will go to B7, white king will go to f6, c7, g6, d7. White king kills the pawn on h6, e7, and see, just in time, white is able to get out onto g7. And then this pawn queens. Are you able to follow what I was saying? Pranav, Siddhant?
Yes, sir.
Are you able to follow what I was saying?
Yes, sir.
Or you want to put on the board?
Sir, I got it.
Got it, right? Just in time. I think it is easy. It is easy to think because it is all one-step moves and you can just calculate it, right? You have to be able to calculate all these one-step moves. So net here, even in this position, the fact that white's pawns were more advanced than black's made a key difference to the position. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, let us take one more example. Now here it is slightly different concept, but it will finally come to the same thing. But see here, the activity of the king also matters. Now, if you see, black's pawns are relatively much more advanced, right? Where they are on the, like from the black side, they are advanced to like what? I mean, if you count from the black side, they are already on the 5th rank, 2 of the pawns. And white's 3 pawns are of them are on the base. So that way, if you consider, then black's pawns are, you will say, much more advanced. And other things being equal, this would have been an advantage for black in this position. Only thing is that the king placement is different. White's king is far better placed and more active, and it is blocking 2 of the black's pawns because the D pawn is completely blocked and C pawn cannot advance, right? C pawn, if it advances, then it will get killed. So because of which white king is effectively blocking 2 black's pawns, and black king is forced to remain back because it has to keep protecting the D6 pawn. So it cannot come out or it cannot do anything. It has to remain there. This advantage white is able to exploit. Okay. How? We want to see it. Let us see whether we can actually do it. Okay. So let me go back to study endings beginners and let us try to create a new chapter. Phase 2, clear board. Black's pawns are on these squares and white pawns are on, and probably here black king is on e7, white king is on d5, and it is white to play, right? White to play. Okay. Okay, so let us see how white can use this advantage. Anyone wants to suggest? Srishti, you want to take a shot at this, what white will play? I hope I got the position right? White's, yeah, I think I got the position. Come on.
So king c6.
King c6. Okay, we will see king to c6. But king to c6, you know what happens? Black plays this. And now?
b5.
b5. How can white play b5? It is
So
white.
king.
Oh, king to b5. King to b5. Huh? King to
Yes,
b5.
sir.
So then there is the breakthrough that we have seen.
That breakthrough that we had seen, right?
No, sir, A3, right?
Hmm?
No, sorry.
A3 is not possible now.
C takes b3.
C takes b3, and now what we had said is, what is the breakthrough idea in this position?
A3.
A3. Now you are forced to capture it, and now this pawn queens, right?
Yes, sir.
So remember that idea, what we had seen earlier in the basic position, but that works everywhere. Okay, as long as the king cannot catch up. So white king cannot go to c6 because black immediately gets the breakthrough idea. And why breakthrough idea? Because black's pawns are far more advanced, right? So you cannot even play c3 because even c3, you remember what I had said last time, that how to, when pawn chains are there, how to undermine. You play a3 now, because if he is attacking your this pawn, then his support is at b2, that you attack it by this. So now whichever way, whatever happens, if he kills b kills a, then you kill c, and then this pawn is queening, and the other way around, obviously if you kill here, then anyway this pawn is getting queened. So because of which c3 is also a mistake, right? So the right thing for white to do is play c4. Okay, I'm going to promote this c4. Now what does black play?
Apasa, right?
Apasa. Fine. So black will take it, white will take it, black will push this pawn, white will push this pawn, and now black has only one move, king to d7, right? King to d7. So white pushes. Now
King c7 or king c7 or e7 again.
okay, so let us say he goes to e7, come for relatively this, and then you push the pawn. Now he has to take it, right? He cannot hold not to take it, because you will take it. So he has to take it, you take it, and now you have got the opposition, and you have got the space advantage. You are pressing, that's it. Game is over, right? Right? Let's go back and just check. So at the beginning, white played c4. Black had no better option other than taking arms. But then white takes it back. What else? Now black cannot advance the c pawn. Black can, whatever else he does, it doesn't help, because white will always push this pawn first if given the chance, because it is always better to advance this pawn. And finally, still nothing happens because black's king is stuck in protecting this pawn. So finally, somewhere when the pawn, when king is on this 7th rank, that time this pawn will advance only and taking it, and then it is complete disadvantage for black, because your pawn c pawn is already would have reached c4, right? So this ending is won by white. Okay, let's go to the next one. So next one is also similar. Relatively, black's pawns are more advanced, I would say, relatively. And
White, right?
sorry,
White pawns are more advanced.
white's pawns are not so much advanced. Just count where is white's 2 pawns are on 3rd rank, right? 2 pawns are on 4th rank, and 1 is on 5th. How much is total? 3 plus 3 plus 4 plus 4. 14 plus 5, 19. Black's pawns, one is on 5th rank. Two of them are on, yeah. You're right. White's pawn is relatively one, maybe one more advanced. Because 5 plus 4, 9 plus 4, 13 plus 3, 16.
Yeah, one is more advanced.
No, 16 plus 2, 18. Yeah, white is 19 and black is 18. So relatively. But nevertheless, white to play has got a advantage, and because white's king is much better relative to black king, right? That is the key factor here. So white's king is more advanced and ready to penetrate into black's position. So white plays a4. Okay, black has a couple of options. In fact, 3 options, but b6 is not going to help. B6 is not going to help. Why B6 is not going to help? We will see it. We will understand it. What?
Because then white can play a5, and then after the exchange, white has the opposition.
White will get the opposition because b6, then a5. B has to take a5. White king will take a5. Black king has to go to b7, but white king will come to b5 with opposition, and then he is going to drive home. And already, first black is going to lose his d6 pawn. And the moment d6 pawn is lost, then all game is lost, because forget about taking other pawns. White will simply queen his d pawn, right? So that is what will happen, and that's why black does not want to play b6. So black wants to hold on and see. So first he goes back and waits and see. So white king goes to b6, black king goes to b8, right? That is the only one.
Now a5.
Now a5. Black king remains on c8, and now white plays a6. Okay. Now black still does not want to exchange, because if he exchanges, then again it is the b takes a, king takes a6. Whatever black plays, whether black plays c7 or b8, white king will come to either a7 or b6 and get the opposition, right?
But sir, black doesn't have an option, right?
No, black can play king to b8, and then what happens? Let us see.
Okay, yeah, stalemate.
Yeah, but I mean stalemate, but white will not give it. So white can actually play here. He can play a7 also, but what happens is a7 check, and black king goes to a8, and now white king goes to c7, black king. Remember here, at this position, it is crucial to have your bearings and not lose the thing. If black king takes the a7 pawn, it is very trivial win for white, because he's too late, because white king is killing the d6 pawn, getting out of the way, and another 3 moves. So if black king takes the a pawn, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 moves, white is able to queen the pawn. Okay, and black will take how many pawn to push the b pawn to queening? 1 first double move, and then 4 moves, so 6 moves. So it is not going to help, right? So the best fight that black can give is immediately playing b5. Okay, but let us see what happens here. So calculation, again, it is not like you can just look at it and understand how to calculate it. So white king takes d6 and
It's gonna
b4
be the same.
and c6 and b3 and d6 and b2 and c, d7 and b1 queen. Black actually queens first, but this is where it happens that when you queen, if you queen safely, and whether you are queening with a check matters a lot. So here white is queening with a check, and black king is forced to take the pawn, and white king gives a check. Sorry, white queen gives a check, and there is only one move for black, and white is able to win because actually first he has to exchange the queens. Now queens are exchanged, and then after that exchange, then white king is still in a better position.
Yeah, black exchanges with an opposition.
Right, and not only opposition, but black cannot even come and defend his e5 pawn or g5 pawn because of the white's position, is white's king's position. So after this exchange of queens, white is still going to win it. right? So, but this was a slightly complicated line. There is also another line here where they are saying you can at this point of time, again, you should, that's why you should know all the ideas and then you can see which one idea is easier. Sometimes though it is slightly longer, but you know an idea and you know exactly how to win it, then it is easier to go there because there is no confusion. Okay, so that is why I should know. But here there is another idea. White king comes back to a5. Okay, and now again black cannot push the pawn or exchange. Exchanging the pawn is going to only give white the advantage. So black king comes to a7 and now white kills b7 pawn. But even then now white gets the opposition. In fact, this is much easier, right? This is much easier. Now black king will go to c7 and now there is a shoulder charge. So white king will go to a6, right? Then black king will go to b8, white king will come to b6, still holding the opposition. c8, c6, and then it is over, right? Just imagine. Black will now go to c7, white will go to a6. And black king unfortunately cannot come to c6. Otherwise, it would have been holding the opposition and putting the white king. But c6 he cannot come. That is a crucial point because of the d5 point. So then entire game collapses. Right? Got it? Any? So let us look one more example. And oh, this is a very, very important theoretical endgame. And you should know perfectly because even I was slightly weak in this. Okay, so I was not sure. What does it look like? It looks like white has got two pawns more advanced than black, and opposition does not matter, it looks like, but actually it matters a lot here because whoever has the opposition is at an advantage, and if black has the opposition then black can draw. But if white has got the opposition, then white can win it. So if it is black to play, white wins. If it is white to play, black draws. Because the kings are in opposition and white to play means white is going to lose the opposition, right? White will go here. Now, looks a bit surprising, but black is able to draw this. How? Again, the rook pawn comes into picture. Because finally, what is going to happen? So black king goes to e6. Okay. White king goes to d4, black king goes to d6. Black is holding the opposition. Okay. Now, if white king starts coming back, black also will start coming back. So it is not going to help. What if white creates a breakthrough by pushing the pawn? Then what happens? Black will kill it, white will kill it, and now black is just in time to prevent white from coming to key squares of the pawn, and he is able to get the draw. I think we should see it. So maybe we should. Shall we join back? Because I think this is important. This position is important to see it from both sides, white side and black side. Okay. It's the same thing on the other side. If it is there, then it is actually winning for white. If it is black to play, then it is winning for white. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So what I will do is I will stop the recording. I will end it, and immediately within 1 minute I will